Hey folks, this is the BFYTW Podcast, and we like weird stuff, and we are proud to be an affiliate of the OddPods Media Network, where there's a bunch of other creators putting out other weird stuff. So, without further ado, let's get on with the show.
Hey, I'm Pantsless Aaron.
This is Stevie.
And I'm Augie.
And we are BFYTW, a podcast all about playing games and having fun. Our games are usually based on British panel shows and game shows, but we'll play anything that captures our attention and imagination. Why? It's right there in the title.
You'll never guess what the F stands for.
Well, hey, how are you doing? Have a seat. Have a drink.
Well, we're started. I want to welcome everybody to a very special episode of the BFYTW Podcast, the podcast where we talk about two of the greatest things in the world, beer and Weird Al. And this is a very, very special episode to me because I have Nathan Rabin here, who he's what you were like the what is it, like the preeminent Weird Al scholar?
If I was feeling arrogant, I would say that I am perhaps the world's preeminent Weird Al Yankovic historian.
I love it.
I have just published my third book about him, so I think that entitles me to. It does not entail me. That's not an actual word. No. Or at least that would not be the correct
word in that context. No.
Yes, we're trying to be precise in our language here to not create word crimes or commit word crimes for that matter. But yes, I've written a whole bunch of books about Weird Al Yankovic, beginning with Weird Al the Book, which he asked me to write, which was a bit of an exciting moment in my life, as you might imagine.
Yeah, like if something like that were to happen to me, I think I would need to like at least triple up my blood pressure medication.
Well, I remember very, very vividly jumping up and down with my wife and saying, "We're going to be rich. We're going to be rich." What I did not realize is that I would make a certain amount of money over a period of a decade. That it's like winning the lottery. They don't give you all of the money in a lump sum. They give it to you like certain parts. I also did not realize that was just the beginning of my Weird Al Yankovic journey. That was not the end. Because again, I remember like, oh man, now that the coffee table book is done, like this is a wonderful, but it's over. Now I can like show up at Weird Al shows and have like a feeling of pride and be like, I am a part of this. I'm a small part of this. I did not realize at that time that, to quote Michael Corleone, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. And by they, I mean myself. Because, when I started my website in 2017, I need to make Al a part of it.
Yeah.
I need to find an excuse to write about Weird Al in a more obsessive way than anybody ever has before. That I know of, at least. I'm sure there are people with, notebooks filled with observations. And these are wonderful people. And they perhaps have observations that I do not have. But I, God bless, I have the connections. My weird ravings about Weird Al Yankovic were first commissioned by Weird Al Yankovic and then co-signed by him and proofread by him and fact-checked by him. So it's pretty fascinating writing about, your childhood hero and your adult hero, and then having him be kind of the overseer of it in a number of different ways.
That's so cool. And I mean, I can speak as I'm an owner of all three of the books. I'm looking back at my table. Yes, all three are there. Yeah. One of the first owners of this last one, which is one of the reasons why, I would have you on the show, like regardless, because of, your placement in the pantheon of Weird Altitude. But yeah, so very recently we have the the Weird Coloring to Al, the coloring book, which, first of all, I love being an adult that is excited about a coloring book. That's the kind of adult that you want to be. And this coloring book is super rad. I love it. So, I mean, tell me, like, first of all, why a coloring book, and second of all, what like went into making this coloring book?
Sure. Well, basically, the inspiration for this was I belong to a number of Weird Al Yankovic Facebook groups.
Yeah, me too.
Fan groups. I mean, just because I'm a fan, I'm legitimately a fan, but also, it's not bad business. It's good to know what his fans, what his consumers are thinking. So somebody posted on one of these groups that, oh, look, there's this Weird Al coloring book. Like, how cool. And I remember thinking, like, oh, wow, that's a great idea. I wish I had thought about that first. And then, I think I clicked on it, and it was a garbage quickie cash-in type deal where they literally just took images from the public domain and they Xeroxed them.
Yeah, I have that coloring book. It's garbage.
Yeah. Oh, totally. So I was like, oh my goodness, this is still an amazing opportunity because it hasn't really been done well or been done at all. And then I thought, wait a minute, I just published a 500-page book about Weird Al Yankovic that contains over 80 amazing black and white illustrations. Like, I kind of created a coloring book without knowing that I had created a coloring book or intending to create a coloring book. So we sort of did what they say in the biz as proof of concept, and that my son, Declan Haven, who's very obsessed with Weird Al Yankovic, as all children are, as all good people are, we colored in these illustrations. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this totally works. Like, this could be a coloring book, and it could be a really good coloring book. So I had this idea, and I pitched it to my illustrator, Felipe, who's a brilliant guy. He lives in Brazil, and he's a colorist by trade. And he's like, yeah, that's a good idea, and we could totally do this. So what we did was we changed all of the illustrations that he had created to make them more coloring book friendly. He added details, he added lines, he had, all sorts of places where people can work their magic, where they can kind of make it their own. And then he created about 25 new illustrations for the book. And the thing about Felipe is he's very, very brilliant, but he's also very particular. So I don't tell him what to do. I give him guidelines, and then I'm blown away by whatever he comes up with. So, for example, a lot of the best known songs in Weird Al Yankovic's catalog are not featured in the coloring book. Songs like Eat It, songs like Amish Paradise, songs like Jurassic Park. And I think part of it is that they're so visually they're associated with the music videos.
Yeah.
That it's kind of hard for him to create something that would be original. That wouldn't just be a matter of being in a drawing from one of the videos. And then the stuff that he did choose to write about that I never would have chosen him to write about, songs like Toothless People.
I love that one, by the way.
Creatures from Outer Space. But he did an amazing job. And again, just his mind, the places that he go to, like, very, very impressive. And yeah, with Toothless People, he, again, just sort of this riff on the Rolling Stones and the tongue logo, and kind of replacing that with Weird Al and toothlessness.
Teeth. It's so great. It's so great.
Yeah, and I'm like, why direct attention to one of his worst songs? And that's because one of his worst songs can create one of his best illustrations. So there's not really a cause and effect relationship. Like, some of his worst songs have inspired some of the best illustrations, and some of the best songs have also inspired the best illustrations. I mean, stuff he came up with for Dare to Be Stupid, for The Biggest Ball of Twine in Minnesota. And again, just looking at like the white stuff. Like, the white stuff.
Oh my god, I just flipped to that page. That's so funny.
Totally. Yeah. Like, that is totally not a song that that I would ever, recommend to anybody. That's definitely not one of, the essentials by any stretch of the imagination. I think with that, part of the problem was he was parodying a song that was terrible.
Yeah.
And usually, I mean, even like, Rico Suave, like, that's a fun song. Daco Grande is a fun song. Like, The Right Stuff. I love boy band pop. I love, eBay.
Taco Grande picture is so good.
Totally. But the image of Al as Tony Montana and with the Oreo stuffing in place of giant pounds and piles of cocaine. Like, it's just very, very brilliant. I was again, I'm very obsessive, like all of Al's fans, and I was going through the book and being like, well, I should take pictures of everything that is related to movies. And where I left off, there were 26 of the images related to movies, and you add television in there, it's probably up to 40, 45, maybe half of the images. But they're riffing on movies in a really fun, really weird, really interesting sort of way. There are also a lot of mashups. That's another kind of his specialties that are really, really inspired. And again, he's got a wonderful blueprint to go from in the songs. But yeah, it's fun to see, for example, Rocky Balboa working behind a counter. That's just you have this image in your mind, and then the image that Philippe created, it not only matches that, but exceeds it. And I felt like with this, I was kind of the producer or the quarterback and or coach, and as the quarterback / coach, my job was to hand the ball to Philippe and have him run for a touchdown every single time, and then say, "Woohoo! Good job, buddy." So we
did it. Yeah.
So that was part of it, and I never really owned a coloring book before, so I didn't have a sense of what they were like and how good or bad they could be. So I just kind of said, like, I will create the ultimate coloring book. Like, I'll just kind of it'll have a plot, it'll have a premise, it'll have like all these inside jokes, it'll have lots of references. Like, the more you know about Weird Al Yankovic, the more you will get out of the book. I mean, there are even like jokes that I've added since the one that I sent you.
Yeah.
It now takes place in Albuquerque's own Rock and Roll Hall of Al.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. But again, it's another of those like weird elements, is that it begins and ends with an Albuquerque reference. Albuquerque is not one of the songs that is illustrated, but I'm hoping that if it's very successful, then I can convince Philippe to do a follow-up, because there are 80 more songs that he hasn't done, and a whole bunch of images from his movies and TV shows and just stuff popularly associated with Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah. Oh, it's wonderful. And I mean, I flipped through this and I am so looking forward to coloring it for myself, to be honest with you. I just came on the headline news picture in here with the little sad round smiley face guy with the bandage over his crotch.
And again, that's one of those things where that is not a song that I would choose to highlight, because if you look through Al's discography, this is probably one of the most dated songs.
Yeah.
And a lot of, when it's dated in a fun way and an enjoyable way, but I think this is one of those where some of our cultural attitudes towards the people that were depicted there have changed and have become more sensitive. We're a lot more sympathetic towards women like Lorena Bobbitt, who have been viciously abused. And then it was hilarious that you got his penis chopped off. The context of it and the background is absolutely horrifying. But again, Philippe found a way to, be funny and irreverent, and also not just like rip off the headline news music video. Like, he kind of chose to make it more difficult for himself, and I guess I kind of chose to make it more difficult for myself as well, and that there is a caption for every single one of these illustrations. And kind of my conceit was that you're the first guest to visit the Rock and Roll Hall of Al. And it's a museum that's just like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, except that it only has Al in it, and that makes it a whole lot better and a whole lot less pretentious. Mm-hmm. And that, unlike most museums where you're supposed to just, silently appreciate great art, here you're supposed to draw on the walls. And you're supposed to help your Al through all sorts of crazy adventures and scrapes. So there are a lot of references to songs. There's a lot of rhyming. There's a lot of wordplay. I'm a little worried that people will hate it. And they'll be like, these illustrations are really cool. What's with this guy's annoying words? And then, at the very end, you were thanked and invited back. But next time, do not bring the starving, crazed weasels.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. I like that it's a coloring book with a narrative thread. And I love the captions. To be honest with you, I've got a very good chuckle out of a lot of them, because it's like, Mr. Happy is looking unhappy. Color him and make him. I'm like, okay. And I feel like a coloring book being a coloring book, its audience can be anyone, and this can appeal to, children who don't know the Weird Al stuff, that will like the rhyming and, just feel that and think the pictures are fun and funny. And so I can't recommend this coloring book highly enough. Purchase it for all of your friends and family for this holiday season. Thank you. It has my Laura endorsement.
I agree with you there. Very much so. No, but it's been very, very exciting. I mean, God, it took us a couple of months to kind of put this together. And yeah, at every stage, it's got more and more ambitious. And fairly early on in the process, I was like, it'd be kind of a shame if we did a coloring book by a dude who is a colorist by trade. And there was no color in it from him. So there's a second version that's going to be hardcover, that's going to be color, that I'm going to write 100 new captions for. That's going to come out at the end of November. So yeah, it's as with the word accordion to Al, I wrote a 388-page guide to all of Weird Al's albums. And I was like, why did I think so small? Why did I create something so tiny? I better do a 500-page book that covers all of his TV shows and the 2018 ridiculously self-indulgent Vanity tour, which I went on 7 shows, but left an indelible impression on my mind. And then, the complete Al and UHF. UHF. That movie that he made that movie. Enjoy a great deal.
Yeah, it's such a good movie. Oh my gosh. So that's
really
the coloring book. It does.
Like, well, it's silly and random. It's like, yes, that's the idea. It's a goofy comedy from the 1980s. It's supposed to be silly and random. Also, the plot, not very realistic.
No, not at all. You have to suspend all disbelief and just enjoy yourself. And so, you know what? Speaking of enjoying ourselves, we are covering an album today on this discussion. So this is one of those very special album rundown episodes. And there is no one in the world I would rather talk Weird Al's self-titled debut album with than you, because it needs to be appreciated by people that appreciate it for what it is.
Well, and I sort of say in the book, this was sort of his most punk album. This is his most new wave album. This is the album where he invented the concept of do it yourself. And part of what I find fascinating about this album is just sort of the period in Al's life when he made it. And also the fact that, in another universe, this could have been his first and only album. That he could have made like this crazy album because he had like a fluke single and he somehow got Rick Derringer to produce it and to play guitar on it. And because again, like a lot of the reviews at the time, like they were very dismissive. I mean, sort of famously, Tom Snyder had Weird Al on and like, oh, look at this kooky nobody who's going nowhere with his dumb song.
Yep.
And it's like, he will bury you, Tom Snyder. Do not mock Weird Al. He will outlive everybody.
Yep.
And it's kind of sad that he's outlived everybody. Like, I don't want him to outlive Tom Petty. Not because I don't want Al to live to be 100 years old, but like I don't want people like Prince and Tom Petty and all of these wonderful human beings to no longer be with us.
Yeah, the lead singer of the Knack.
No, he just died.
No, not just. I want to say, I'm going to tell you because I've got let's see. What was his name? Doug Feger. Yeah. Yes. 2010.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that is very, very sad.
So yeah, then
it is a bittersweet and melancholy thing for Weird Al to outlive so many of the people that he's parodied or paid tribute to in the song.
Yeah, it's nuts. But we can kick off this album with
he outlived both Ricky and Lucy.
He did outlive both Ricky and Lucy.
I guess they were live at that point.
They both were, yeah. Early 80s, they both were because
I know Desi Arnaz was on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
We've got a cast member. That would have been interesting.
Right. Yeah, Lucy
featuring Desi Arnaz.
Hey, Babalu.
Aaron Morris.
God, right? And Lucy died in 89, I believe.
Yeah, she had a show in the late 80s, and I remember it being kind of sad.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily want to see an 80-year-old Lucille Ball do physical comedy. And then you got like Gail Gordon back. It was just, when getting the band back together is not necessarily a good thing. Although I was thinking, God, so much of what Al does has a second life because, he's writing about pop culture, and so many of the things that he has paid tribute to have just endured in a way. And I mean, just the fact that like there's going to be an Aaron Sorkin movie about Lucille Ball and Daisy Arnaz. With Javier Bardem.
Oh,
Really?
really?
Yeah, that's some good casting there. And it's weird too, because I mean, he made one of the worst things ever made about comedy in Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. So I'm very interested into seeing how he handles this material and whether it will be great, like a lot of his work, or embarrassingly terrible, like a lot of his work. I'm also hoping that Aaron Sorkin will show that he has a sense of humor by having the song Ricky play constantly.
He should.
Like very weird and meta and distracting. I like to show people that you have a sense of humor, Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I'm
so
not convinced.
For those that, and I mean, for those that may not be keeping score at home, we are talking about the song Ricky, which is a parody of Mickey by Tony Basil, who is not dead.
No. And she has led an amazing, amazing life. She's one of those people where you just like see her popping up everywhere. I mean, like the friggin' Easy Rider.
Yeah.
She plays a prostitute in Easy Rider. Like she was like a choreographer for like the Talking Heads.
Mm-hmm.
Like she is an incredibly talented woman, and like to the point where like one of the least impressive and interesting things she's done was record the hit song Mickey, and it's equally, if not more, iconic music video.
I mean, that seriously, the video is the only reason why that song was even a hit. I think
It's a catchy song.
It's
It needs more accordion. I mean, I think that's pretty much the big. You're like, where's the accordion on this?
Yeah.
Like, it's lacking accordion.
Yeah, that's
and then
the crux
Al
of
came
it.
in, and I also love too that apparently Derringer's main thing was like, you gotta have a heavy accordion on every track. Play that squeeze box for me, buddy.
Yeah, play it. Make it talk. Make it talk.
My guitar's okay, but you're a squeeze box, man. That's what the people really want.
Oh my God, that's fabulous. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great way to kick off the album. I love how the song ends with the little, nod to the I Love Lucy theme song.
But I mean, because in my various books, I make a lot of claims, some tongue in cheek, some less so, some partially tongue in cheek. And one of the claims I kind of make is that Al is kind of the unsung hero of the mashup. And you kind of look. There are a number of early songs, around the same time Steinsky was doing it. You would have these songs, and it's fascinating to me, that there will be these unexpected credits on his songs, and like one of the songwriting credits for here goes to I think Frank DeVol, DEVOL, for writing the I Love Lucy theme song, because this interpolates in a way too that kind of hip hop also would interpolate songs into different songs. So that to me is really, really fascinating. There's just so much going on just in less than 3 minutes. I also love that I sort of talk about how the first song is the big one. It's like the hit, it's the one for MTV, it's for the masses, and this album begins with a catchphrase from one of the most popular TV shows of all time. It ends with a man dying of polio on an iron lung.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It created the recipe for what I feel his albums should be. I get a little, I understand, but I get a little upset when an album doesn't end with that weird song. I don't like albums ending with polkas. I'm like, there was something else could have gone there. Something else really could. But I mean, just for the sake of getting through this and talking about songs that have a lot going on, Gotta Boogie is track 2 on this album. Oh my God. It's so complex for a song about boogers. They're like musically, it's complex.
Yeah, well, it's interesting kind of sort of where Al's sort of inspirations come from. And with this, I think it's probably fairly influenced by a Frank Zappa song called Dancin' Fool.
Dancin' Fool.
Which was sort of again, sort of a similar thing of sort of looking at the disco scene from an outsider perspective and also from a mocking perspective. And these people are dumb, and these people are silly, and these people are full of themselves. I also do, that it's an accordion-fueled disco song.
Which, I mean, come on. That they all should be.
Exactly. I think the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack would have sold some copies had they thrown an accordion on every song.
Yeah. I feel that.
But yeah, it's such a thin lyrical conceit.
It's a boogie. You got
Well,
a boogie?
yes, because again, the whole idea is he's asking these women, want a boogie, and they wonder, is he asking me, do I want the booger? The mucus, a blob of mucus on the end of his finger, that's very, very unappealing.
Mm-hmm.
No, thank you. I would not like that booger. And he's saying, would you like to boogie, as in Boogie Wonderland, as in Boogie on Down? All of the songs that Casey and the Sunshine Band were written about. And again, this is interesting to me because it's kind of like By Me Kondo, where it's his only disco song.
Yeah.
Like he did lots of other kinds of songs, but he did not do anymore. And it's also fascinating to me that, this could have been his only shot. People didn't have 4-decade-long careers doing pop parodies about food and television technology. Even like Alan Sherman, like he had a couple of years where he did really, really good, and then he died, and then he wasn't popular anymore, and then he died.
Yeah.
And thankfully that was not the story with Al, but that part about him being briefly popular very well
died.
could have been. And also like there are certain parts where like his career could have ended. This was one of them.
This was definitely one of
Polka
them.
Party was one of them.
Yep.
It's kind of like, okay, you had a couple of successful albums, like it's over now. But yeah, he pulled it together, and he overcame it. And again, there are so many elements of this that are interesting to me. One of which is that it is, as I said before, like it's his punkest album, kind of in the sound, sort of, but also in the aesthetic, also in the idea that he wrote and recorded these songs really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me that one level you have somebody like Al and his band who are relatively young. They're rough. They're diamonds in the rough. They're unpolished. Whereas Rick Derringer at that point was as good a musician as he was ever going to be. And he was you freaking look at his credits on Wikipedia. It's insane.
Yeah.
This man does guitar solos on classic Steely Dan albums. And Steely Dan does not ask you to do a guitar solo unless you're one of the greatest guitarists in the world. So it's interesting to me that like this total professional was playing on this album. Also, Richard Bennett, who I think is a really, really interesting figure. He's Bermuda Schwartz's brother or his half brother, which would explain why they have different last names.
That would do it, wouldn't it?
It's interesting to me that he's like not more referenced or mentioned in the Al community because he has an amazing career. He's played on Billy Joel, Neil Diamond, just all of these albums. And yeah, at the very beginning, sort of before he found his guitarist, Richard Bennett would play with the band, and yeah, that's two incredible ringers on what is a very funky, weird, crazy, cheap, and again, I don't see it in a bad way. Like it has all of this scruffy, homemade charm. This is also, you have a lot of musical Mike Kiefer's contributions to this album. And again, I kind of wish that I could have been a fly on the wall for the recording and seeing sort of what the dynamic was like between Rick Derringer, who again, rock and roll lifer, and then these, and crazy, ambitious, wildly talented kids who were doing something that nobody had really done before and kind of creating this whole dynamic and this whole aesthetic that would last and endure and explode in a way that I don't think any of them could have possibly imagined.
Yeah, absolutely fair point. Seriously, Rick Derringer on an album with a song about a booger. Which is then
playing guitar on that song.
On a song about a booger.
Oh yeah, and you listen to it and it's very unpolished, and that's, I think, one of the things that's interesting to me is on the Medium Rarities album, they have I guess they've re-recorded happy birthday.
Yeah.
So that there's no more accordion and it's a lot more polished and it's a lot more slick. And Al, I think at this point, is a much more polished, much more smooth vocal performer.
Mhm.
But I'm like, that's one of the punkest songs you've ever done. If anything, you should go the opposite way.
Yeah.
And make it, even rougher.
Yeah.
And even crazier sounding.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's not one that I would want cleaned up. I've heard that, and I just like, nope, I like this one better. I absolutely like this one better. And I also I love Rocky Road better than I love Rock and Roll by yeah. I love Joan Jett, but come on, give me the Rocky Road over the
Yeah, well, that's just it's a friggin' anthem,
Yeah.
and that's another thing that's kind of interesting to me is I kind of feel like sort of Al's influences, inspirations were comedy people, but also kind of new wave people, So I feel like he had much more in common with somebody like Mark Mothersbaugh or Danny Elfman or David Byrne than he did with Rick Derringer. And I think with Rick Derringer, you could say that his genre was rock and roll.
Hoochie Coo.
Yeah, I mean, the 7, and I guess now it's kind of called classic rock.
Yeah.
Because I guess the kind of classic rock kind of brings to mind, which is one of the reasons why I think people are freaked out when people they consider recent are on classic rock. Like, come on, man, this Nirvana song is only 30 years old.
Only
it's not
30
an oldie, man.
I
From
mean,
when I was 18 years old, man. So I think that's one of the things that's kind of interesting, because. Yeah, and Joan Jett obviously kind of came from the world of punk, and she was one of the Runaways. And yeah, one of the versions of "I Love Rocky Road." I love Rocky Road. I love rock and roll.
You did it. You did the thing that we all do.
Steve Jones and Paul Cook played on it. So you had the guitarist and the drummer from the Sex Pistols. Sort of after the Runaways and before the Blackhearts, I guess it would be. So that is very, very interesting to me.
It's wild. It's wild. I mean, don't give me no crummy taste spoon. I know what I need. It's beautiful. And you were talking earlier about some things that Weird Al does with headline news becoming dated, right?
Yeah.
Track 4 on this album is super dated. Buckingham Blues.
Yeah.
You don't get much more dated in Al's oeuvre. I just like saying oeuvre. You don't get much more dated than Buckingham Blues.
It's funny that you said you like the word oeuvre because I thank God when Al sent me back the first draft of the word accordion to Al, he did like a word count and saw that I'd used the word oeuvre over 20 times.
Yeah.
So there's nothing like getting word shamed by your childhood hero, but it served a useful purpose, which was that I went and did a find and replace, and I took out every last use of the word oeuvre.
You removed it.
I removed tread. But that's the other thing too, that because again I listened to the album a couple of times to sort of prepare for this, and the long tail of everything that he does, because he's writing about something that people were interested in 1983, but that people will always be interested in. People will always be interested in the royal family. And I was saying, you think of the news now, it's dominated by the royal family, and it's like this crazy sequel where they recast the role of Princess Diana, eccentric, iconoclastic outsider who stumbles into the role of being a princess and, butts heads with the royal family with Meghan Markle.
Yeah.
And it's an inspired, recasting. You have a person of color there. You had all sorts of interesting elements there. And yeah, it's a soap opera that began in the early 80s and it not only continues in 2021, but is more dramatic, and histrionic. And I mean, again, the people that he talks about in the song, the babies that Diana are making
are the ones making their own babies now.
That's Prince Harry. They're these people who are, these world famous figures. And yeah, there was a guy in the book, I think I referred to a genre called the comically incongruous white folks blues. And that is a genre, and again, this is kind of, I guess, kind of Blues Brothers would be kind of the ultimate embodiment of this. And they kind of transcend that idea by not just being, oh, there's going to be a gag about this, or there's going to be like an awkward set piece. Like, that's the essence of this film. And so these weird white guys who have no real business being so connected to Black music, but who live it and breathe it. And they're these like walking sight gags. So yeah, I guess Adventures in Babysitting are like that as well, where you kind of apply the music of the downtrodden and the blackest form of music to the whitest people in the world.
Yeah. And you don't get much whiter than the royal family.
And
I mean, until...
Oh yeah, the least disadvantaged people in the world as well, and that's where the humor comes from. But also too, just he really throws himself into it. And again, you think of where he was and who he was at that time, and he's a 23-year-old recent college graduate with a degree in architecture, in case this crazy music stuff doesn't work out. And he throws himself into it with such conviction. And there's this sort of irony and this levels and levels and levels of irony, but also he really gets into the down and dirty. And yeah, this and Generic Blues, I think, are both way funnier and way better than they really have any right to be. I think part two, because part of what this song is about is whiteness, and it's making fun of whiteness. It's making fun of, because again, Prince Charles, like the whitest person in the world.
Yeah.
That he was like the color of milk. You don't get any whiter than Chuck.
No.
And again, this is one of the many songs that has a sort of a backstory in history that also make it interesting. That it was going to be a John Mellencamp parody. But that did not happen. And it's weird. You think, early in his career, people said no to Al. I think because there wasn't he was an original. There wasn't this idea, but there's this person, and they'll do these parodies of pop songs, and they'll be super popular, and people will like it, and he'll put out an album every year, and there wasn't a Weird Al before. I mean, like I said before, there was Dan Freeberg, there was Tom Lehrer, there were all of these people, but they all did their own thing. Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa was a huge inspiration on Al, and he inspired Al in a really weird, really interesting, very unusual sort of way. So he kind of alchemized all of these different sort of influences and created something completely original, despite everything being based on something that already existed, whether it was a song, whether it was a genre of music. Another thing that's interesting about the self-titled debut is that, with the exception of Happy Birthday, there aren't clear-cut homages. They're pastiches. And Gotta Boogie is the disco song. And Buckingham Blues is the blues song. And it's not a specific blues song, although you could say that there's one blues song.
Yeah, that's it. There's just one.
And people have just been doing variations on it for like the last 130 years. And it was written by Robert Johnson.
Yeah, who sold his soul to the devil and died at age 27.
Exactly. And then they made a Ralph Macchio movie about it. From the director of The Warriors. It was very weird. Check out Crossroads when you can.
Oh my God. Okay. Fabulous.
It's the kind of thing that like Rick Derringer would have been involved with.
That seems right.
He did the music for, Hulk Hogan's theme song from the 1980s, Real American.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I like it. Oh my God. Oh, we got to keep trucking through this album, man. This is good. Oh, I love it. I love everything that's been happening here so far. But like, Happy Birthday, like you just mentioned. I love the Happy Birthday song on this. I send this to the special people in my life on their birthday. I say, I don't do this to just anyone, but here, please be blessed with the YouTube video of this song. Thank you.
Yeah, I think, sort of I've talked a lot about punk, about him being sort of the punkest of all of his albums. And I think this is the punkest song on it. And I think, again, that's partially because it is very rooted in a very specific song by a gentleman whose album I totally went out and bought, and I enjoy his music, and I'm totally blanking on it.
Tony okay?
Okay, yes. Yeah. And again, it's fascinating to me. Like sometimes he's inspired in kind of an abstract sort of way, and sometimes he does his own version of a song.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is his version of a song, and that song is the funky Western Civilization. And yeah, they're kind of, the comic conceit is very similar with both, where it's ostensibly celebrating something very happy and cheerful and fun, and that people enjoy. In the case of Happy Birthday, it's birthdays.
They're good.
And blowing out a cake and celebrating and broccoli and beer, and with the Western. Funky Western Civilization. It is a dance. It is a fun, cool dance that you can do, but instead of having lyrics that are silly and goofy, they have lyrics that address how horrible the world is and what a dystopian nightmare we're living in, and they have a very punk conception of the world as spiraling madly out of control. Sort of talk about being dated. One of the many things that kind of dates this in an interesting and appropriate way is there's a lot of terror of nuclear war.
Yeah.
And you see that in a lot of Al's albums, and I think part of that is, being a satirist. You couldn't be a satirist in the 1980s and not address the biggest, darkest subject in the world, which was we were having a Cold War.
Yep.
And if things had turned out a little bit differently, we all would have died in a nuclear apocalypse. And Al being Al, he got a lot of laughs out of that. It's like, that's some good subject matter for funny songs.
Yep. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, it's true. I mean, we'll soon be blown to bits. So, the monkeys in the Pentagon, they want to cook our goose. Their fingers all in button. All they need is an excuse. Yeah. It's like, you're right. This is the punkiest of all the songs on this album. And I love how raw his vocal is on this. There's part of me that loves the fact that his singing got cleaner and things like that as his career progressed, but there's another part of me that just loves how wild this album is.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing is like you listen to his vocals and he sounds different on every one. He sounds like a different singer on Gotta Boogie than he does on Stop Dragging My Car Around. Then he sounds on Happy Birthday. Then he sounds on Mr. Frump and the Iron Lung. And again, I think part of it was just that he was figuring things out as he went along. And then part of it also is that, he was a kid and he would never be this young and raw and wild and untamed before. And there's something really beautiful about that. There's something really beautiful about debuts. A lot of times they're the best thing somebody will ever do because it represents everything that came before. And I think that's not the case here. I kind of feel like sort of his next album is sort of his real debut in the sense that it's the album that he recorded as an album, from start to finish. But there's something so charming about how rough and wild and crazy and all over the place this album is.
Yeah, it is all over the place because you go from Happy Birthday to Stop Dragging My Car Around, which is a parody of Stop Dragging My Heart Around by Stevie Nicks with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And much like, you have some of your big musical pillars that you are a rabid fan of. One of my big musical pillars that I'm a rabid fan of is Stevie Nicks. I love Stevie Nicks so much. My dog is named Belladonna.
Yeah.
Because of Stevie Nicks. Okay. That's how much I love
my dog
Stevie
is named
Nicks.
Ghostface Killer.
Okay. So, I mean, there you go. So you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
And what is interesting to me, I have a difficult time reconciling with this Weird Al song, Stop Dragging My Car Around, because you think to later on in his career how faithful he is to what the original was and what the sound was and how they feel, and he would do the research for how did they make that sound, how did they do this, and in some instances do what the original artist did but better. Okay. Yeah. But that this is an accordion cover of Stop Dragging My Heart Around with hand farts, which I'm fine with. But I love Stevie Nicks so much that I just I hear this. I'm I get it. It's funny. It's Weird Al. I understand where this is, but it doesn't sit as well with me as some other things, just because I love her.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of what Al's career, particularly in the early stages, particularly with the accordion, particularly with the fart noises, courtesy of musical Mike Kiefer, were about puncturing the pomposity and pretension of pop music. Got a little James Ellroy there with the alliteration. And I think
Love
that's
it.
kind of what was happening here, where it's a very somber sounding song. Like, it sounds very serious. It sounds sad. It sounds, like a breakup song,
Mhm.
like two people in a really tough relationship, two giants. Like, I was a huge Tom Petty fan. And again, it's very, very sad that he
Mhm.
died, how young he did.
Mhm.
But yeah, this to me is kind of fascinating for various historical reasons, where this was, I believe, the first released parody that was not a single.
Okay.
That did not do something very, very big for his career. Like, the first one was obviously My Bologna,
Mhm.
which kicked it all off. That was the beginning. That's what, allowed him to be a 1970s recording artist, just barely. He
Just
got
barely.
in like last week or so.
Mhm.
And then Another One Rides the Bus was obviously also very huge. That was kind of the cornerstone, the pillar of his first EP. And then,
Mhm.
this was a parody. Then Rocky Road, and Ricky, those were also
They had
singles.
fabulous videos for those two.
Oh, totally,
You know.
totally. Yeah. So there's something a little modest about this one, and I
Mhm.
think also I love the details, and I love just the mental image that you have of Al, particularly as a 23-year-old. Him having a snaggletooth necklace, jumping around like a maniac.
Yep.
Yeah, and again, there's just the whole idea of it is so silly that he has such a bad car that it keeps getting towed for no reason.
For no reason, what, your pants are groovy and your hair's okay, but man,
Yeah.
that car of yours is so uncool. I'm sorry, I had to tow it away because it's so uncool. What does this car look like?
Well, I love the idea of him saying, "I love your necklace. Your pants are amazing. Hair's okay." That he's just shirt adequate. Headphones look like they're expensive, but your car sucks. It was the first of a number of sort of car songs.
Mhm.
I guess Belvedere Cruising sort of preceded
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and along with Another One Rides the Bus, sort of the problems with transportation.
It's
were,
difficult.
a big
Mhm.
theme in Al's work, sort of in the same sense that they are in popular music. There's a whole genre of car songs, and this fits into that genre in a weird way, as appropriate, considering sort of Al's relationship to the rest of popular music.
Yeah, I mean that's beautiful, and that I mean that sums up that song, because we have to hit My Bologna, because that's the song that did it for him. But before we hit My Bologna, since this is Beard Al, I just have to make sure I say I am having Hardywood's Mama's Mean Cobbler, a Belgian style fruit ale with peaches and spices. So thank you, Mama, for the cobbler. Mama, it's like a picnic table and everything. It's beautiful. So anyway, My Bologna.
Yeah. The song that started it all. And there's so many weird elements to this. One of which is that it was a new album of songs that were as much as 3 years old.
Yeah.
So if you were a Weird Al Yankovic super fan, and I'm guessing there were already a fair amount of them at the very beginning, this was old news to you. But I guess they changed things around by making it a full band version, as opposed to just kind of Al and his accordion
In a bathroom.
Yeah. And again, there's sort of talk about sort of the weird relationship between Al and the rest of pop music, where My Sharona, like all early rock songs, was incredibly perverted.
Yeah.
And very dirty. And it was dirty in a way that, God, I have to get PG-13 here. But apparently at one point, Quentin Tarantino, who enjoys using popular music in his movies, was going to score the violation of Ving Rhames and Bruce Willis to the song My Sharona, because he said it had a good Yes. Sodomizing beat would be not simple way of putting it. There.
Okay, I like that. Okay, I'm gonna put the phrase "sodomizing beat" is going into my vernacular like right now. Check that.
And then what happened was, and then he saw Reality Bites, and he said, "Okay, the movie Reality Bites owns this song now. Like, I can't put that in my thing." But being like, didn't he realize that like this was used in Reality Bites very, very memorably like a year before?
Yeah.
And that would kind of make sense because it's not just like, oh, it has filthy lyrics, all about like, you're a teenager and I want to have sex with you. And it's so hot that you're a teenager and you're on the age of consent, and that's why I'm turned on. And it's like, no, please. But it also just feels filthy. It just feels like do. You gotta see where Tarantino was coming from, and then you would think that talking about your baloney would again just have a crude double entendre, that it would just be if anything, filthier than the Knack's incredibly filthy version of the song. But the genius of Al and the weird transcendence of Al is that he manages to be wholesome and like the least wholesome possible context, and it genuinely is about baloney. He's not singing about his dick, not singing about sex, he's singing about how much he enjoys eating processed meat products. So at the very beginning, like, it's about pop culture, it's about food, it's about both consumerism and consumption, in both, sort of the symbolic and then the most literal possible way as well.
I mean, I have the Knack, Get the Knack album. Here's craziest thing. My mother loved the album Get the Knack when she was younger, and then when I was in high school, we're in like
Doug Feiger.
No,
I just stay away from that guy.
But we were in like a record store, and I was looking for something. I was in high school, and I just wanted something different to listen to, and so the Knack album was there, and she's like, "Oh, I loved this," and so I got it, and I was listening to it, and I was probably 16, 17 years old listening to Get the Knack for the first time, and I'm like, Mother, good girls don't, but I do. Like, what is happening here? Like, musically, I love it, but lyrically, I hate it. That whole album, it's great. It's very Beatlesque, and a lot of things. But if the Beatles and like punk had a baby, would be the Knack album, right? And I'm fine with it. I think it's great to listen to, but like, just like take the words away. Because
and that's what Weird Al did when he took the words away, and then he substituted a much crazier, much sillier, much goofier words. So we sort of talked about the long tail of Weird Al, and 38 years after he recorded this, it was on Stranger Things. Yeah. And again, like, that's perfect, because if you were a Poindexter in 1986, that's what you'd be listening to. You would be a Weird Al guy, and you would be listening to it on repeat while you like made your models, or you did your thing. It's fascinating to me how he endures and how much he sort of infects so much of popular culture, and how much his music is in turn sort of infected by everything, the sort of inner culture around it.
Yeah, it's true. And to that point, I went to the hair salon today, so I'm sitting there in the chair while my hair color's processing, and I Want It That Way came on over the radio. Then Beat It came on over the radio. And then Royals came on over all three right in a row. And I'm like, Al. And I'm sitting there like singing the wrong words. And then one of the other hairstylists says, what? A used pink bathrobe? I'm like,
what about William Shatner's old toupee?
Hold on. Yeah, he's so pervasive. And like the next track on this album, The Check's in the Mail. Again, it's very set in its time, but sidebar to this, one of our new little introduction bits on the show is John and his almost 3-year-old daughter, Cecilia. He got her to say, "Hey, how you doing?" sit down, have a drink. And he had her do kind of the whole thing. And I can't wait until she can like rattle it off coherently so I don't have to kind of edit the little pieces together. But yeah, I will make sure I put it at the beginning of this episode because it's like, hey, how you doing? Sit down, have a drink. And then it's like, oh, we'll get together again. You know?
Yeah. It's funny because I sort of think of sort of musically. This sort of reminds me of Paul McCartney's contributions to the Beatles, like the annoying songs.
Okay.
They're like, let's do a dance holly type thing, and then the melody would be like bum ba bum bum ba 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 ba. And I just imagine how like John Lennon's like, I'm going to shoot more heroin tonight because I have to put up with these obla dee obla da blah 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 blah. But it's very very affectionate. It's very involved. You know, I think this is kind of where Rick Derringer's production and Richard Bennett's studio work come into the fore. It's also interesting to me, sort of from a lyrical perspective, it's one of the more abstract sort of songs from this era in particular. It reminds me a little bit of Mission Statement and Bob, where you're sort of taking a series of phrases, sort of unconnected phrases, and kind of putting them together to create something. And yeah, I think, again, you sort of think about where Al was, sort of geographically, and then also time-wise when this was recorded. And he was born in Southern California. You know, like he grew up around these phonies and these, showbiz type. I didn't grow up around them, but he came of age around these people.
Yeah.
And yeah, that and Such a Groovy Guy, there's an element of social satire that you don't necessarily see as much in his music. It's almost kind of Randy Newman-esque.
Randy Newman, yeah.
And again, there's an elevation where he's using all of these phrases, and as it goes on, they become more and more nonsensical.
And he even flips it around at the end, like, right, I'll have lunch with your machine.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole idea of just like these catchphrases and then these things that people create to, I don't know, endear themselves to other people, to seem clever, to seem witty, are both incredibly banal and borderline nonsensical. And again, it goes from being very, very friendly to being like weirdly hostile as well. And again, I sort of said before, like his vocals sound way different than they do on any other. It's almost like there was a Turtles album, and it was called The Battle of the Bands. And the idea was that they sounded like a different band on every single song. And I feel like this is kind of accidentally a sort of a similar sort of dynamic going on.
And I think we may feel that, listening to this, because he hadn't really established himself yet, but he still does, on later albums. His voice changes, from track to track to track, but like we're kind of comfortable with knowing who Weird Al is. So was it intentional on this to do that? Like it is now, like Truck Driving Song is obviously way different than the vocals on My Baby's in Love with Eddie Vedder from, Running with Scissors, right? Like they're clearly very different, and that was intentional. How intentional is this? Or is this just, well, I don't know, let's try that?
Well, I mean, it kind of suits. I mean, each of the vocal performances suit the song, So here he's a very glad-handed kind of guy. Ba ba boo ba boo ba boo ba boo ba boo boo. Yeah, it's got a kind of a shuffling sort of, and it also it's like it's a very old-timey song. I kind of feel like this and Mr. Frump and the Iron Lung are two songs that seem to, be several decades back. In terms of their inspiration and their origins. So yeah, I think part of it also was that at this point, he probably didn't have that clear of a sense of who he was as a singer when he wasn't trying to be other people, when he wasn't doing characters, when he wasn't impersonating, the person that he was parodying. And then, yeah, I think, there's also, to get back to the punk new wave thing, there's also this idea of just energy. And you get by with energy and excitement, and I'm feeling it because you're not super polished, and yeah, it's fascinating to me also that, this is the only album that he would do where the accordion is on everything.
Yeah. And the energy's up every single song too. It's like, there's no down, and
yeah, well, I mean, it kind of like it's Mr. Frump on the Iron Lung. It definitely ends things on a somber note.
Yeah, okay.
On a dry note, but no, you're totally right. Like,
there's no "You Don't Love Me Anymore" type like slow song vibe. Even Mr. Frump, like while it's somber, it's still got a little
It's still goofy, yeah.
spring in its step for like whatever that you can have in a iron lung, I guess. Oh my gosh. So I guess speaking of being stuck in metal cylinders, another one rides the bus.
Yeah, and again, there are so many fascinating elements to this album, and one of them to me is that they put out a album where this is basically a home recording.
Mm-hmm.
That this is basically a demo. Like the only thing that makes this not a demo is that it was recorded for the radio. And that Dr. Demento was behind it, and yeah, I think it kind of speaks to the faith that Al had in his fans and in the public at large, that he's like, I can play this incredibly rough, raw thing of me just yelling in a bathroom accompanied by this dude I just met. And that's going to be a definitive version. And that is the version that people are going to listen to, and yeah, it's interesting because you look at Queen, and they were all such virtuosos. And every member of that band was absolutely brilliant at what they did. And you have this 23-year-old kid recreating all of that with just an accordion.
Yeah.
And his voice and a lot of energy. And yeah, I'm doing The Big Squeeze, which is kind of my sequel to the Weird Accordion album, where I revisit all of the entries. And I just did the Bohemian Polka. And it's interesting to me because Queen is, I think, one of the only, they hit the trifecta.
REM did too.
Oh yeah. So it did, but they do an entire. So the thing about Queen is
it's
they did an entire polka,
polka,
a whole song that was just devoted to that.
REM was in polkas.
Yeah,
they were in polkas, and then they have a pastiche and a parody. So
yeah. So that's fascinating to me, and also God, there are so many weird details. Like if I'm not mistaken, another one, Bites the Dust, was I think it was Rocky 3 wanted to use it as the theme song. They were like, no, we don't want all of the money in the world, so we're not going to let you do that. So instead, Al has only parodied 2 Rocky theme songs, In the Eye of the Tiger, and then Living in America. So he very nearly did 3 there. So it's crazy to me that considering how huge all of the Rocky movies were, that another one, Bites the Dust, could have been even more successful.
Wow. So Al almost hit a Rocky trifecta.
That's yeah, for sure.
That's really cool. That's so cool. Track 10 on this album, I'll Be Mellow When I'm Dead. I love the sentiment. I love what it's saying. Even take some of like the dated references and stuff out of it. The thesis behind this song is, like, I don't need to prove I'm cool. Like, I'd rather kick and jump and bite and scratch and scream until I'm blue. Like, just like, you may as well be hyper as long as you're still around. Like, I feel that in my soul. Like, that is how I try to how I try to be. And man, I will never skip this song if it comes on shuffle because it's my anthem.
Oh, totally. But I think part of that also, to get back to a motif that I've used throughout, you kind of look at Al as a product of Southern California. And I feel like that's what this is about. This is a lifestyle song, and this is about somebody rejecting a lifestyle as aggressively as possible. And it's interesting to me, from the perspective of 2021, where Al is one of the world's most famous vegetarians.
I know.
To hear somebody being, forget that whole vegetarian scene, even health food makes me sick. Also, it got us fascinating to see sushi being referenced as exotic. And
I know.
Isn't that crazy that people eat raw fish? And I remember I'm old enough that I remember being like, wait, people eat raw fish? That's not like some sort of weird prank. That's like actual food and people like it and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that is really interesting to me. And yeah, I feel like it's definitely kind of an off-brand version of Al, in part because he expresses, but he's also playing a character.
Yeah.
The same way that Randy Newman would play a character. And this character, loves eating Jumbo Jack burgers.
You'd rather have a Big Mac or a Jumbo Jack than all the bean sprouts in Japan.
Yeah.
No. It's so fun, and I love the way this song starts. It's like the accordion comes from like really far away. It's like it's one of my gym songs. Like I get really really excited about this song because the energy's huge, and I'm just I even have the T-shirt of this song. It's like
that's awesome.
I'll have to make sure I send you a picture of it. But it's a very punky Weird Al, like he's doing the like leaning back with the accordion, and it says Weird Al Yankovic in like that almost ransom note kind of punk lettering, and in the bottom it says I'll be mellow when I'm dead, and it's just yellow on a black T-shirt, and I'm like, oh, it's so rad.
That's awesome. And I feel like this is definitely one of those album cuts, sort of a quintessential album cut, and sort of prove to the world that like I'm more than just My Bologna. And I could do all different kinds of songs and different kinds of tempos, and I think that's part of what the all over the place quality is a big part of this album's kind of scruffy, homemade, modest charm.
Yeah, and actually, I made sure I had in my Al trading cards. I made sure I had the one for this album.
Oh, that's awesome!
At the front to talk, because you're talking about this album being all over the place, but this album cover does try in some sort of tenuous way to connect everything, because there's an image of everything on the album in this cartoon.
Oh, yeah. Well, and also, too, you get the sense of he was like, this is everything that I love. Like, this is everything that's on the album. And part of what I love is Mad Magazine and Jack Davis movie posters. And I'm going to do an album cover that is just like that. It has so much crazy, kinetic, wild energy, and so many details, and so much affection, and so much, this incredible love-hate relationship with trash culture and pop culture and pop music. And all of these things are stupid and dumb and laughable, and they're also great. So we can celebrate them, and we can make fun of them, and we can have fun with them all at the same time.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And, speaking of, I'm really working on these transitions. Speaking of making fun of things, such a groovy guy. Totally making fun of that groovy guy.
Yeah. Well, again, I sort of talked in my book about the loathsome Losarios.
Yep.
The creepy Casanovas that you find throughout Al's work, and this is definitely maybe the first of them. I was thinking this contains probably the healthiest romantic relationship in all of Al's oeuvre. That word. In Ricky, where the relationship, despite how they might have actually gotten divorced in real life, they had a very successful dynamic on television, and that's what's important. But yeah, the Such a Groovy Guy is fascinating in part because it's inspired by real life.
Yeah.
And Al had a girlfriend, and she told him about this guy that she dated, and he literally uttered the phrase, "But I'm such a groovy guy." Unironically, that's the beautiful, beautiful thing here. If he had said like, "But I'm such a groovy guy," and then you'd be like, okay, this person has a sense of humor, they have a sense of irony, maybe you shouldn't be breaking up with them. But somebody who unironically is like, "But I'm such a groovy guy," and again, it's lifestyle parody, and it's lifestyle satire, and it's making comedic sport of these narcissists, and kind of it's kind of like the Guy to Boogie guy as well, where he's very obsessed with himself, and he likes the way he looks, and he thinks he's God's gift to women, and he's very, very wrong. So I think that's very and it sort of talked about the different vocal performances, and he sort of becomes this guy, and he gets inside his oily skin, and his disco attire. So yeah, that's interesting to me, that he's once again, sort of, and it's also the kind of song that he would not do again. There's not really another song that he would do after this that's like Such a Groovy Guy.
Right.
It's kind of an
Yeah.
outlier on that. He'd like do lots of songs about guys who are romantic in psychotic and creepy and pathological ways, but not in this particular. Like every one of his creepy Casanovas is different.
Yes.
You know, they have things in common, but they're different.
The
They're specific.
closest. I'm trying to think. The closest to this guy is I want to be your lover.
Yeah.
Like, because this guy, 20 years later would say, I want to be your anaconda.
Oh, well, then I also like, I think what where the comedy comes from is this lack of self-awareness. And I think when I May Your Lover, what makes that interesting is this kind of like, well, this is what a sex song or like a Prince song would be if an alien came down to Earth and didn't know what sex was, didn't know what humanity was, but like tried to, make baby making music at the same time. And this guy doesn't have much of a better sense of humanity. And his idea of romance is much closer to, insanity.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. And this always felt like a throwaway song to me, like as a kid when I was listening to it, because I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
But understanding it now, I will tell you straight up, like I always enjoyed this album growing up because this was the second Weird Al album that my brother and I listened to. We got Bad Hair Day, and then our dad had actually purchased this on cassette from the Columbia Record Club and had it still. And so we were loving Bad Hair Day, and then Dad goes, hold on, I've got this. And we popped it in, we're like, oh my God, it's more from the same guy. This is so cool. But we didn't get most of it. We didn't understand the social commentary that was going on. And I think that's another thing that's super cool about Weird Al and his oeuvre is that as a person, I'm using the royal you, as a person grows, they come to appreciate what he's saying on a deeper level more. He's like either an onion or an artichoke, like whatever. Like there's things to peel away as you grow. So yeah, Mr. Frump and the Iron Lung. We're wrapping this up with one of the quintessential album closing tracks.
Yeah. Well, I sort of wrote about how, the first song is for the masses, for the normies, for the people. And then the final song is for the weirdos. It's for the fans. It's for the people who have every album, who analyze the albums, who go on podcasts and write books to discuss the albums.
Yep.
And I also feel like this is probably his most vaudeville song.
Yeah.
And this is, probably the most directly inspired by Dr. Demento, where you could totally see this being a song from 1962 or 1953. And again, I think about, this could have been his first and only album. And had that been the case, then his career would have ended with a man dying of polio in an iron lung. Like, how weird is that?
It's so weird.
Like, that is just so crazy. And that this made it onto the album at all, I find really, really interesting. Because again, you would imagine it's so dark, it's so morbid, it's rooted in something that really wasn't a thing in 1983. Like people weren't dying in iron lungs, people weren't talking about iron lungs. It was not a source for comedy. It was not a source for comedy music. And yet, and not only there's the perversity of doing a song about a guy dying of polio. It's so spare. It's kind of like, the original version of My Bologna, where it's just a guy and his accordion and the different things that an accordion can do. And the fact that and that's what it's based on. Like the comedy is derived from the fact that there are certain aspects of the accordion that sound like a respirator.
Yeah.
It sounds like somebody's dying thing. And I also love the fact that, because the ridiculously self-indulgent ill-advised vanity tour happened, I got to see this performed live multiple times. And again, like during the time, like brain is just like, oh my God, I never thought I would hear this performed live. And like, here it is. And because of that, like I derived more enjoyment than like hearing, I don't know, Dare to Be Stupid or Biggest Ball of Twine and Gallon. Like, again, just hearing these bizarre, weird, random, obscure songs performed live was like more exciting for some reason than hearing my favorite songs,
And
because
yeah.
you just don't expect it.
Mhm.
There's just so many, and that's the thing. I like when I was following Al, and I tell people like I'm going to 7 of his shows, and people were like, he had more than a few hits. Like he's not just a guy who like did a couple of parodies. I'm like, no, he has hundreds and hundreds of songs, and he has 15 albums, and you can analyze his work endlessly. And people are like, but why would I want to? I'm like, it's actually pretty fascinating.
Yeah, because it's good and you should,
Yeah.
and it will make you a better person if you do.
Exactly.
Like, obviously. And man, yeah, this song, it's so funny, John and I growing up, we had no context for what an iron lung was, and I'm gonna ruin something for you right now. If you're ever out like in a grocery store or something and you hear the Steve Winwood song Higher Love, okay?
Oh, that song's already been ruined for me.
Okay, well, I'm going to ruin it even further because my brother, because we knew Mr. Frump and the Iron Lung, when he heard Higher Love by Steve Winwood, he always thought it was Bring Me an Iron Lung. Bring me an iron lung. Whoa. And so I can't hear Higher Love without thinking, where's my iron lung? Bring me an iron lung.
Oh, that's funny. No, Steve Winwood is ruined for me permanently because my wife has told me many, many times an anecdote about her and her sister being on mushrooms at Coachella and having a really terrible experience. And then they wandered into a tent and there was Stevie Winwood performing.
Oh, wow.
So she'll always associate Stevie Winwood with like one of her worst drug experiences.
Oh, that'll do it.
So now I cannot think of, and I'm like, so now I cannot hear Steve Winwood or think about him without thinking about my wife when she was like 18 years old at Coachella and being like, no,
iron lung.
I don't want to roll with it. No,
I don't want to roll. No. I don't want to roll with it. Oh my God. This is
fun.
This is fantastic. This has been so wonderful. I am going to make sure I put links to whatever you want me to put links to in the notes to this show.
For sure.
Like definitely the coloring book, man, because this is, if you need a gift that is appropriate for literally anybody in your life, from the time that a person can like hold a coloring implement in their hand until the time they no longer can, this is the gift.
Thank you. And I've been very fortunate in that the books have done well, and they've done particularly well around Christmas time because there are lots of Poindexters out there, and this is a wonderful gift to give them. I encourage people to buy them directly from me, from my website, so you don't have to go through Amazon.
Yeah.
I also encourage people to buy 3 books for the low price of $27, and you get a free pack of pencils, colored pencils. I encourage everybody to use colored pencils, not markers. Don't be a monster.
Yeah.
Don't do violence to Philippe's brilliant work. But yeah, so the great thing about having 3 copies is you have 1 to color, 1 to collect, and then 1 to give to your closest friend. And then we're live on Amazon now as well. So
hooray!
You can buy them from various places. I'm very, very excited. This is the 3rd book in the Weird Accordion Al series. So there's actually 2 trilogies. One of the trilogies is Weird Al the book, the Weird Accordion Al, the Weird A Coloring Al, and then the other one is the Weird Accordion Al, the Weird Accordion Al Ridiculously Self-Indulgent Ill-Advised Vanity Tour Edition, and then the Weird A Coloring Al, and then it's going to be a quadrology once the coloring book, once the colored-in book comes out.
So much.
I have lots and lots of books that I will be very happy to sell you.
So, like all the people listening to this, if you're listening to this and you aren't a Weird Al fan, first of all, how did you get this far? Second of all, if you don't have these things in your collection, get them, because not only like it's so cool sharing like the Weird Al experience with somebody who is like dived into it as deeply as you have, and it's kind of made me want to dive in, deeper myself, other than just my, surface level appreciation as a good human being. So it's awesome. And this coloring book, I'm super excited. I think I think I have I have 2 or 3 copies coming because I'm gonna color one. I'm giving one to my niece who's, she'll be 3 right around Christmas. So I'm not sure if I'm giving that to her as a birthday present or as a Christmas present, but she's getting it in December regardless. And yeah, so it's going to be wonderful. So yes, keep, color, share, collect, do all you have to do. And Nathan Rabin, sir, this has been a delight.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me on. I was a blast every time that I come here.
Yay!
So it's good. It's good sharing a fandom with you. And yeah, it's funny when I wrote my book about Fish and Insane Clown Posse. You don't know me, but you don't like me. I think one of the interesting things about my journey was I came to realize like there are people who feel as passionately about Fish and Insane Clown Posse as I do about Weird Al Yankovic, and I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people where like this is part of my soul. This is like at the core of my being is that I am a Weird Al Yankovic fan. Like even beyond being somebody who's had the honor and pleasure of working with him, like I'm just somebody who loves to listen to the music, to go to the shows, and excited for another tour because that would be really, really lovely.
Wouldn't that be really, really lovely? And
hopefully next summer, the magic will happen.
Oh, if he comes anywhere remotely near somewhere that's near the two of us, we should go to the same one.
Definitely. I
Yeah.
definitely plan to hit more than a couple of shows the next time he's around.
Excellent.
It's good for business. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, it's also good for the soul, to see Weird Al as many times as you possibly can. So again, for everybody, here at the Beard Al Podcast, I want to thank you, Mr. Nathan Rabin, for being on the show once again. You are welcome back anytime you want to talk about Weird Al.
I will take you up on that offer.
Huzzah!
Awesome.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm gonna put a pin in this episode and just call it a day. Okay, bye.
Awesome. Bye.